This is Kim and Shannon.
Are you newly engaged and don't know where to start?
Have you been planning for a while and are ready to elope?
Don't stress, we've got your back.
We are From Ring to Veil,
Your wedding planning heroes. Feeling comfortable in front of the camera, episode number 202.
If you have not subscribed to the show, subscribe to the show right there in that podcasting app that you are listening to. And if you know of anybody who is getting married, please tell them we're here to help.
Our timelines and checklists are flying off the shelves. So if you want to get in on this, you have to go to our website, fromringtoveil.com/checklist. It's over 25 pages of awesome, useful information about wedding planning. It's $3.99, so go check them out.
If you have not joined our Facebook group yet, please do. We're waiting for you. We've had a rash of joiners lately, and we're so excited. Lots of questions, lots of answers, really unique questions that I haven't heard before. So join us. You can find us on Facebook. We are the From Ring to Veil Wedding Planning Community.
Let's face it, there will be more pictures taken of you on your wedding day than any other day.
It does take some getting used to, and some of us still aren't that comfortable with it.
Today we have Jill Steenson with Lillian Lane Photography here with us. Jill is here to share with us some tips and tricks on how to feel comfortable in front of the camera.
With her experience both behind and in front of the camera, she's the perfect guest host for today's topic. Thank you, Jill, for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So we like to start out with our guests, just asking you to share a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are now.
Oh, sure. I was a model for about a decade, and I was traveling the world about a week out of every month, freelancing. And then I got a divorce and had to stay a little closer to home to take care of my little one. And so I turned my house into a photography studio that I rent out by the hour. And I got really fed up with having to rely on photographers for content. So I picked up a camera and started photographing my friends for content for my studio. And I decided I liked it a whole lot more than anything else I was doing. So at the same time, my best friend was getting married, and she was kind of lamenting about how expensive her wedding photographer was and how she didn't own the photos. And she said, that's it, I'm becoming a wedding photographer. And I told her, like, can I with you? I would love to do that with you. And she said yes. And I called her the next day and I said, we have a logo, so let's get cameras. So the Lillian Lane is actually a blend of our names. It's a pseudonym that's sort of between the two of us. She wasn't so into it, and, I was kind of lost interest and got a different job, but I absolutely love every day of it. And I've been pushing really hard to try to make it a viable business. And I feel like I'm finally at the point where I'm really proud of my work and I'm really ready to make it my thing. I quit my day job and it's working. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Now, you've told us that you've had experience in front of the camera. Tell us a little bit about that.
Let's see. I turned 16 and I was 5'10" with crazy red hair. And my grandpa married a woman who owned a modeling school. And so I would go there for the summers and work, and got introduced to that whole world. And I was just sort of around that for most of my teens and 20s. It was my regular job for a decade. There's a lot of artistic growth and things to keep in mind, in front of the lens. It can be a little, to be honest, I can't take a snapshot to save my life. If someone points a phone at me, I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, no, me neither. I can never, I cringe every time I see myself on a camera.
Yeah, I truly do too. And, with the right photographer, the right lens, the right angle, and the planets align, I'm like, I got this. But otherwise, I'm just like, oh my God, this is a nightmare.
So how do you get people to feel comfortable in front of the camera?
I like to photograph people who are personality matches with me anyway. So people who I would want to spend time with without a camera. And so it makes it a really easy transition when, you know, you're having a great time and then the camera comes out and just like relaxed, everybody's having fun. That's where I like to start. I mean, it's hard to, I think as, you know, a model, it's really hard to be photographed by someone who you just can't connect with. I can just see it like in the eyes. I'm like, I really didn't like that photographer. It's very obvious in the photos.
That does make sense. We've always talked about how when you're looking for vendors for your wedding, you really need to find people that you connect with. And it really makes sense with a photographer and videographer to connect with those people because they're going to be capturing you on your special day. And just like you said, if you don't connect, it's really hard to work with them.
It's super important. And you could have your dream photographer whose work you've been following forever, and then you meet them and you're like, ugh, he makes me feel awkward, or, you know, she's kind of over the top for me. Or at the end of the day, you're going to look at your photos and be like, man, that was an awkward time, or I look uncomfortable. But if you have someone who you really mesh with, and then you get the big gallery at the end of the day, and you're like, you know, laughing with your partner, and you're remembering the moments instead of, you know, feeling stiff and uneasy. So I think it's better to have those like warm, connected feelings, even like reviewing the photos. It matters quite a lot.
So I classify myself as an introvert. I don't like being photographed. I don't like being in a big crowd of people. How do you get someone like me comfortable in front of the lens like that?
I think that setting is a huge deal. So I would not take you to like a public park where there's going to be, you know, onlookers or people around. I would probably try to find like a private garden or something, just so that I know that you're going to be comfortable with me and we can just talk. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, there's going to be no expectations. Yeah, I'm an introvert too, and I really don't like it when I have that, I guess you call it performance anxiety or something. And you're like, I have to do something, but it's not coming and it's going to be bad.
Yeah, I've been an introvert all my life. I used to take piano and I could never do recitals because I would just freeze and, you know, and then I would mess up and then I would get embarrassed and then I would just walk off the stage. I have horrible performance anxiety and then
That's fair.
It's bad. So yeah, I'm an extreme introvert.
Oh man, I tried acting like once or twice and then I realized that I hate people staring at me and I won't do anything. Not that I guess I can't do anything they're asking me to do because I'm so just like on about it. I don't want people staring at me. I don't want, you know, to be expected to perform. And I kind of feel that way with like extra people around. So, I mean, it's one thing if you're an extrovert and you don't mind being the center of attention, but for us introverts, that's going to be a huge problem to be at like a public place and have people staring at you.
Wondering what you're doing out there with the camera. And,
Who's that famous person over there?
That's like my personal nightmare.
Well, you talked about bringing the setting into play and where you would take some people. What about the atmosphere?
I think the atmosphere is super important. For instance, I don't want to model or be photographed with like techno music. Having and it's happened a lot, and I'm like, these are awful. But having the couple or person choose the music is really helpful. Having, you know, music available in the first place is important, but, you know, making sure that you're not imposing your musical tastes on them. Even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, I always have a Bluetooth speaker with me and offer that, even if we're in the middle of the woods. I'm like, let's get some tunes. Actually, if you're super not comfortable being photographed, having like a glass of wine doesn't hurt.
See, I would have to do that. I would have to either have a beer or go have like a vodka tonic somewhere before I do this.
I mean, as weird as it sounds, there's very few other things that can help, like a glass of wine can help. And I don't like push it on anybody.
Yeah.
I'll hint that it's okay.
Right.
Or have some franzia or whatever. If the temperature is horrible and you're not quite prepared for the temperature, it's going to be really hard to pull out like the ideal photos. Like I'm sure that you could eke together something decent. If you're wearing like an evening gown in the snow, are you really going to be happy? Or, is a chunky sweater and a scarf going to be better? And really it's going to make the difference.
Yeah, but if you want that snow shot in your wedding dress, you're going to have to grin and bear it. So.
Yeah. And if you're grinning and bearing it, are you really having fun?
Right.
I don't think so. But I mean, people do it. I guess just keep it short if that's the case. Also, making sure you eat something beforehand. Like don't gut load, obviously, but having a little snack and some water and taking frequent breaks. And every time you take a break, just eat a little something, drink a little something, keep the energy up.
Take a couple sips of wine. No big deal.
Yeah. Wash it down. Yeah, I think taking breaks is important too, because it's hard to stay like that on top of all of your muscles, your face, everything, and do that like emotionally, on it for so long. You really have to just chill out for every half hour or so.
Plus, to get the perfect shot, sometimes you have to be in these awkward positions that I've realized. So it does kind of hurt your muscles sometimes.
Yeah, it can. So it's good to have little breaks.
So you did say eat something before. What are some other preps that would be great before you get in front of the camera?
It sounds super hokey, and I'm almost like embarrassed to say it, but to take a moment or 10 minutes or so and like meditate. And I don't mean meditate like clear your mind. I mean like relax and imagine yourself having fun and imagine the shoot as if it's going perfectly. And it's really crazy, but this actually works. It's almost like you're willing it to work well.
Mm-hmm.
I try to, every time I'm about to do something important, I try to take a minute. I always listen to Pink Floyd's Shine On You Crazy Diamond because it's like 15 minutes long and it has this like, relaxing sort of loop. Although I'm not a Pink Floyd fan, that song just does it for me.
There's another Pink Floyd song I like too that does that. It relaxes me. Now I can't remember the name. I hate when I do that.
I really like that. I mean, you say it sounds hokey or whatever, but that's fine. I think plenty of people have to gear themselves up in such a way. They have to even when you start a podcast, you kind of have to get in the zone somehow. You got to bring a focus to what you're doing. So I like that idea of meditate on what you're doing. Just bring yourself into the moment. We're having fun. We're doing this. I'm not worried about what I'm going to have to do tomorrow or even later in the day. That kind of thing. I really like that tip.
Oh, I love it. I actually use it quite a lot. I play poker. For a big game, I just sit and meditate and I imagine myself being super confident and strong and strategic. And then when I get there, I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm feeling good. And it really works. Makes me happy. Another thing to help sort of get the extra anxious energy out is to do a super easy workout beforehand. It probably doesn't make sense to do it on your wedding day, but for sure, if you're going to take like engagement photos or something, sketching or...
But yoga might work on your wedding day too, because it will kind of relax you and get you ready for the day a little bit.
It would actually be really smart to do yoga on your wedding. I just can't imagine like taking the time, what I mean?
Yeah, I have to get up a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But you could do like a with your bridesmaids or whomever, just even a 15-minute stretch, would be good. It really does release the endorphins and pull that stress level down. Just be good.
Yeah. And it'll give you a nice healthy glow.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Probably good to also like bring your partner in to some of these.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be like for sure you do not want to start any sort of like serious conversation or, bring up some issue. Like it's just not the right time, on your way to the shoot, be talking about some problem. But even on the other side of that, there's this trick actually my boyfriend used on me when we were just barely seeing each other, where it's this series of, I think, 40 questions that are meant to like boost vulnerability. And you sort of ask each other the questions, answer them together. Of course, that takes a while. You don't necessarily have to do that. But then afterwards, you stare into each other's eyes for 4 minutes solid. And at first it's like really awkward. And then the time just flies by.
Huh.
And he, honest to God, Googled how to make a girl fall in love with you. And found this like series of questions. And then like you stare at each other's eyes for 4 minutes. And he suggested that we do this fun thing. But it actually worked, and he manipulated me into falling in love with him. So now I'm like, hey, if you want to have like a really nice connected time with your photos, just like stare into each other's eyes for 4 solid minutes. Yeah, it's like a trait of vulnerability or something in it.
See, I do that with my husband, and he would start making faces, and then I would not be able to look at him anymore because I would be laughing.
Yeah, you make faces because you feel awkward for the first 30 seconds. And then you just relax and you get used to it. And you're like, all of a sudden it's over. And
Exactly.
you're like, oh, wow.
Cool.
I feel good. I feel endorphins.
Another tip that you had talked to us about was coming up with challenges.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest for those challenges?
I practice what is called promptography. It's not prom like the dance. It's prompt, like PROMPT.
Oh, okay.
Prompting you to do something, but not every photographer does that. So if you happen to have a photographer who does that, that's awesome because he or she will help you to like prompt you into a fun expression of emotion. If you have a photographer that does not do that, then you can do it with your partner without needing the photographer to help. You just each like make a list of fun little challenges or activities you can do. Like you can take turns like whispering breakfast foods into each other's ears until like
bacon.
Yeah. You try to do it with like an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent or something. Or you can do like slow run competition, or I like to have people kiss with their teeth. Sounds really weird, but it looks so cute in photos because they're like kind of trying to, I'm actually doing it right now. You can't see it.
I was trying to imagine.
They're trying to like super focus on getting their teeth, but they're laughing. So it looks like you've caught this couple in the middle of like giggling halfway through a kiss. It just photographs so beautifully. Another thing me and my partner do is whenever a new song comes on the radio, whoever yells out the artist and the song name like wins. And so we're always like hyper focused on when a song is starting, and then one of us gets it and the other one laughs and hug and like.
See, that would be something that a photographer would have to do with me and my husband, because if you ever watched Friends, how Chandler Bing smiled in front of the camera, where he was just all teeth and his mouth was just open. That's my husband. He can't take a serious photo. He can't smile in the camera. So, I mean, it would have to be something that would make him laugh naturally. And the photographer would have to do that.
That's the whole idea, especially like your husband's very common. Like most men are begrudgingly doing photos and they don't want to be there. And they want to get this over with. Mm-hmm. So if we can like really focus on the man and getting him comfortable and confident and moving and expressing like with his partner, you've made it.
Yeah.
That's the key. Because the woman she wants the photos and she knows how she wants them to look. Oh gosh, it's so great when you have a woman who knows how to get her man, like she'll grab his face, she'll be like, look at me, now smile. My cheek, and then she laughs. It's like, oh, you're gold. Like, I love you.
Yeah.
What are some things for appearances we could do to feel more comfortable in front of the camera?
You'll probably not want to plan like a sunrise, engagement shoot unless you're a super morning person.
Ugh, no way.
Yeah, me neither. I would say that, a lot of women they're sort of minimal makeup wearing, but when they want to get photographed, they want to start doing the contouring and the Instagram eyebrows and everything. I would say don't do anything crazy to your face. Do just a little bit more than you normally do, and you will feel good and you will look like you. The false eyelashes tend to look really nice. For some reason, eyelashes don't translate as heavy as they look in person, in camera. And so usually people are super happy when they have just a little bit of boost of eyelashes. But if you don't do like contouring and baking and the super heavy makeup most days, I would not go for it on the day of the shoot, because chances are you're not going to look like you. I would avoid wearing stilettos unless you wear them all the time. You know that people always want to grab their heels when they're going to get their photo taken. But if you want photos where you're feeling natural and you're moving and you're playing, you want shoes that you can do all that with and not, feel like you're teetering around.
Mm-hmm.
So even on your wedding day, let's say you're taking your wedding photos, let's say you have heels that you're going to be wearing in the ceremony. So you can take a few with heels and then take them off, or change shoes, or what do you suggest on that?
You should do whatever it is that you feel strongly about. But if heels are important to you and you want to wear them all night dancing, I think it's fair to give your feet a break. I mean, chances are they're not going to be featured in many of the photos because, your dress is covering them.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the wedding day goes, whatever the bride says is gospel. Like, I'm not going to argue at all. She wants to wear heels, she should wear heels. I would just say that, if you're not used to wearing heels, really think about and prioritize where you want your heels on.
Take a picture of them and then I'll just take them off.
Right.
Let's take the obligatory lift up the hem of the skirt, heels. As far as fabrics that photograph really well, I usually tell, my engaged couples to not wear like all black head to toe, because you'll just fade into each other. A good like flowy dress, maybe some sheer fabric somewhere, looks so good. Helps with movement. But mostly like feeling good, feeling comfortable in front of the lens is you just want to wear what makes you happy, what feels good.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's not really the time to go to, if you're like a yoga pants kind of girl, it's not really the time, yoga pants like me, to get something really stiff and formal at, some really expensive store. It's not who you are.
That's right.
Even it, you're not going to be happy.
Basically, you just want to be true to yourself with the makeup and your clothing and things like that.
True to yourself. I mean, wedding day, there's not a lot of like, jersey knit wedding dresses. Do your best not to feel like you want to give up, toward the middle of the day.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. As always, we will have links to where our listeners can find you. But Jill, where can they find you?
I have a website, lillianlanephoto.com. And on Facebook, I'm Lillian Lane Photography. And on Instagram, it goes back to Lillian Lane Photo. info@lillianlanephoto.com.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. We will use some of these ideas to possibly do some live videos, right, Shannon? And try to be more comfortable in front of this camera. As we said, we both aren't all that comfortable.
People get to pick and choose which ones would be helpful for them. Like, of course, if you try to do the whole list, it's going to be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like pick three things that are going to really help.
I think these are great tips and you're very helpful. So thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Thank you so much.
I'm serious. I really do like the visualize yourself having fun thing. I need to do that a lot more often.
I probably should too, because I can't, I'm always nervous before something like that. Like when we did headshots that one time, I'm like, crap, what am I going to do? What am I going to wear? What am I going to do this? What am I going to,
Yeah.
Because I will do that Chandler smile.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't get that reference, go watch some Friends. Okay. It's hard for me in front of the camera. Because I never feel like I look good, for one thing.
Right.
Right. So being comfortable in the clothing and the makeup, because I hardly wear makeup either.
Yeah. I think that's really true. A lot of people try to overdo it with makeup with pictures. You've always heard if you're going to be on stage, you got to wear a whole bunch of makeup so people can see you. I think a lot of us equate that with photos too, and that's not so true. I mean, maybe things like she said, the eyelashes and stuff, but the makeup, you really don't need to overdo it with the makeup. And again, you want to look like you in the photos. Right. You don't want to look like some plastic kind of something that you don't look like. So I love these tips from Jill. I'm so glad that she was able to join us and help, because hopefully now we can have a few live videos or something. What do you think? You guys want us to have some live videos? Let us know. Tell us what you want us to talk about. What do you think would be fun for us to do? And we'll try to do those now that we can be more comfortable in front of the camera. Because as you know, we're not in the camera right now.
Yeah, so. Yeah, we're behind the scenes, just talking to you.
That's right. And by the way, thank you for all the support you guys have given us. All of the listens are we know by our stats that you guys are listening and sharing, and we're just very thankful for it. So thank you.
Are you getting married in the Seattle area anytime soon? We have our Seattle metro area wedding planning resource guide out there in the Amazon verse. You can find it easily if you go formingtovale.com/RG paperback or formingtovale.com/RG Kindle, or go search Amazon Seattle wedding planning.
If you're looking for some swag, some t-shirts for your bridal tribe, try out formingtovale.com/TEE and see if you like what's there.
Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We're even on YouTube. So go check us out everywhere you can listen to podcasts.
And while you're there, leave us a review or a rating and let us know that you're listening to us on that app. I often wonder how many of you are listening to us on Google Podcasts. We have no idea. How about Stitcher? I don't know. But if you leave us a rating or review, it kind of lets us know, oh yeah, we've got a few people over here and a few people over there. And if you find us on maybe a new app that we don't know about or that we haven't said anything about, let us know so we can add that to our list.
You could even add us as a skill on Alexa. Then all you'll have to say is, Alexa, play Forming to Vale, and she'll play us.
So until next time, no stress, no worries. Keep calm and listen on. Music provided by bensound.com.